Hello there. My initial idea for this essay was to share my thoughts about STEM in a world that is led by business. STEM is a well-known model of diverse academic disciplines including science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. However, there is an additional field that complements these disciplines, their development, and can have a significant effect on people's lives. This field is the arts, and it is frequently thought of as unimportant due to surface-level economic reasons and societal contributions that are contrived. I will explain how the longest-lasting field is an important cog in a global clockwork that helps us understand, interpret, analyze, and reflect things about the world and its inhabitants. With the current crisis, the arts is facing the heaviest onslaught and degradation that we have ever witnessed, and all the people that are involved within the sector are feeling the pain. Taking a look back in history, we find that art, poetry, and music are the oldest art forms that can be found in prehistoric cultures. Even though the origin of these art forms are unknown, they were important in the tribes and communities in expressing stories, ideas, and emotions. It is presumed that the human voice was the first used instrument and could be used to imitate natural sounds through patterns and tonality, while some of the earliest pieces of evidence of musical instruments are wooden pipes and flutes. With regards to art, colours and shapes were created with natural paints and used to describe figures and present stories or records for the communities that crafted them. As for poetry, it contained aesthetic and rhythmic qualities using language to create meanings and stories. Early evidence of this expressive form includes pyramid text and the Epic of Gilgamesh. We can then progress on to the ancient Greeks and the well-known Homeric epics of the Iliad and the Odyssey. Around this time, Aristotle worked on a piece of dramatic and literary theory called the Poetics, and is one of the earliest surviving pieces to comment on the state of literature. This work focused on form and contact with subjects concerning rhetoric, drama, song, and comedy. Aristotle also discussed an experience called catharsis. He considered that these art forms could cause an individual or social catharsis expressed either positively or negatively. Specific emotional situations can cause changes in individuals that can be subjective, physiological, behavioral, cognitive, or expressive. We will return to this subject a little bit later on. Pushing forward in time, a set of subjects were established of which have been discussed to death time and time again. The liberal arts is a grouping of educational subjects rooted in the basic curriculum of classical Greece and became formal by the time of the Roman Empire. As a foundation for education, the trivium, Latin for the place where three roads meet, has adjoining roads of grammar, logic, and rhetoric. These subjects respectively help with mechanics of language and literacy in describing information or objects, involvement in reasoning, arguments, and assessment of scenarios, and being able to apply language through speech or text in a persuasive manner. These were a prerequisite for the following subjects known as the quadrivium. The four roads that met at this grouping were arithmetic, the study of numbers and the use of operations, geometry, study of shape, size, position, and properties of space, astronomy, study of space outside the Earth's atmosphere and celestial objects in it, and music, the study of an art form and cultural activity that uses pitch, harmony, timbre, rhythm, expression, and form. The liberal arts were essential for a free person to have before taking part in civic participation. This civic participation or engagement is defined as a process in which people take collective action to address issues of public concern and is absolutely instrumental to democracy. Why would this be? It was found in the National Study of Learning, Voting, and Engagement that during the 2016 presidential election, students majoring in the social sciences had the highest score of voter turnout compared to those in the STEM fields that had the lowest, with the health professions, humanities, and business in between. Therefore, the arts provides tools such as complex problem solving, critical thinking, and written and oral communication that individuals can use to engage with political matters. Now to momentarily dip our toe in the field of neuroscience, of which has a plethora of research on art and the brain. In 1995, a study was conducted at Heinrich-Heine University in Germany, where they found that the corpus callosum was unusually large in individuals who started playing music before the age of 9. This section of the brain is the connection between the left and the right hemispheres, and depending on its robustness, can allow information to be transmitted from either side much faster. Therefore, this may allow musicians more creative diversity and effectiveness in solving problems, extending to academic and social scenarios. It seems that the Greeks and Romans were onto something, including music in their education. Transitioning from the brain to the mind, there is research discussing the connection between arts and empathy. In 2016, Hall et al.'s study illustrated that individuals who had a tendency to become deeply engaged with high empathetic experiences, they are more likely to enjoy negative emotions conveyed by music. Such negative emotions can be compared to the process of catharsis, as previously mentioned with respect to drama. This follows that this conditioning allows one to empathize more with the negative emotions of another individual. There is also other research finding that the reading of literary fiction resulted in better scoring on empathy tests. Let's now consider a rigorous psychological model that is known as the Big Five personality traits. They are listed as openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Research from 1998 supported how one's personality traits may affect different situations, and from their findings, we see that academic or professional success and the engagement arts was a strong correlation. Also through this, there is a correlation between artistic and scientific creativity and openness to experience. Further research was conducted in 2012 on the effect of personality traits on academic performance. They found that two factors, conscientiousness and openness to experience, can predict academic achievement. Conscientious individuals were found to be the most successful in achievements. They continued to explain that those scored higher on openness tended to be intellectually curious and interested. This interest can result in a desire to gain deep insight and understanding in many things and also develop new strategies of learning and to succeed in academic achievement. To add to this, Vettel concluded that the arts and humanities scored low on conscientiousness. However, it was high on openness and agreeableness, of which respectively contains attentiveness to inner feelings and empathy. Now, if we consider the social and political implications of openness, it is found that individuals that are higher in openness tend to be politically liberal and tolerant of diversity. Through this, they are open to different cultures and lifestyles and have negative relationships to ethnocentrism, social dominance orientation, and prejudice. Therefore, individuals that engage with the arts have a better understanding of the complexities of human experiences. In the current workforce, employers want to hire people with skills that separate them apart from everyone else with qualifications or a standard degree. Since there are so many degrees being handed out year after year, their value goes down. Even if people are quite brilliant in this subject, it doesn't mean that they will instantly be successful in communicating or commercializing concepts if they are unable to work with or relate with the people involved. To quote one of the most influential figures in the world of technology, Steve Jobs said that it's in Apple's DNA that technology alone is not enough. It's technology married with liberal arts, married with the humanities, that yields the results that make our hearts sing. A significant educationalist and advisor for the arts, Sir Ken Robinson has said much about the importance of creativity. Leading a UK commission in 1998, Robinson authored an influential paper called All Our Futures, Creativity, Culture, and Education, discussing education and the economy. He suggests that for education to be effective, it must first foster diversity by offering a broad curriculum and encourage individualization of the learning process. Secondly, it should promote curiosity through creative teaching, which depends on the quality of teacher training and development. Finally, it should focus on the awakening creativity through alternative didactic processes that put less emphasis on standardized testing, thereby giving the responsibility for defining the course of education to individual schools and teachers. It was quoted by the Times newspaper that this report raises some of the most important issues facing business in the 21st century. It should have every CEO and human resource director thumping the table and demanding action. It seems that when engineering and technology were further developing in the Industrial Revolution, their importance began to outshine the arts, and this can be linked due to their connection with business and enterprise. Inventors and businessmen were able to manufacture products and profit off large-scale labor. This was on a much grander scale in comparison to producers of art. There have been theories and innovations from STEM throughout the centuries that have been left to the wayside and have been required to evolve and adapt to the times. The arts have also followed a similar trajectory with social trends and evolved to express the times through the art that is created. In 2015, the Australian Curriculum Assessment and Reporting Authority composed a report discussing national STEM school education strategy and expressed that a renewed national focus on STEM in school education is critical in ensuring that all young Australians are equipped with the necessary STEM skills and knowledge that they must need to succeed. The main use of subjects in education is to improve competitiveness in science and technology development and has particular implications for developing the workforce. Although a term that is starting to pop up in education research circles is STEAM, in which the additional A stands for the arts. In this model, the arts is integrated into the other academic disciplines and provides content to supplement them. Returning to the history lesson again, the Renaissance is a significant period in the European timeline. It was a transition into modernity from the Dark Middle Ages. The Italian artist and critic Giorgio Vasari coined the Italian term Rinascita in his book The Lives of the Artists. Here, he attempted to define that there was a shift away from the barbarities of Gothic art, as he held that the arts had fallen into decay with the collapse of the Roman Empire. The Renaissance humanists studied ancient texts in their original form and appraised them through a combination of reasoning and empirical evidence. There was also a repository of ideas and stories of Western history in general, providing an impetus for great innovation. During this period, there was a significant contribution of work and knowledge through all the STEAM subjects. To name a few significant figures at the beginning of this period, Gutenberg was the inventor of the movable type printing press. Desprez and Palestrina produced many pieces of sacred text and vocal music and influenced early polyphony. Copernicus was a polyglot and polymath and contributed greatly to many fields, being a mathematician, astronomer, physician, classic scholar, translator, governor, diplomat, and economist. Michelangelo produced a number of paintings, sculptures, and architectural works and is considered to be one of the greatest artists of all time. Though the position of the archetypal Renaissance man is reserved for Leonardo da Vinci, a figure that has contributed to more disciplines than any other person that has ever lived. Invention, drawing, painting, sculpture, architecture, science, music, mathematics, engineering, literature, anatomy, geology, astronomy, botany, paleontology, and cartography. Each of these figures and more contributed to fields defined under STEAM. This time was a rebirth of classical antiquity and intellectually based in a revised version of humanism. Humanism was devised with the purpose to create a universal man, or the Greco-Roman ideal referred to in Latin as the uomo universale. This developed intellectual and physical excellence in a person so that they could function honorably in virtually any situation. Renaissance education was mostly formed of ancient literature and history, as it was thought that the classics provided sufficient moral instruction and an intensive understanding of human behavior. The humanists wished to create citizens able to be literate, and communicate with eloquence and clarity, and therefore they were capable of engaging in the civic life of their communities and persuading others to be virtuous and prudent in their actions. The Renaissance, this age of enlightenment, was sparked following the Black Death. Yet it did not last as long as the recurring plague, as the age ended by the 1600s. Some of the figures at the end of this period and made way for the next were Galileo, Newton, Bach, Locke, and Shakespeare. It is here we should consider whether endeavours in these fields are pursued for the benefit of the economy or for human betterment and understanding. In a sense, both can be achieved, though one seems to be held in high regard. This is the reason why the arts is held in such disregard, as it supposedly does not contribute to the economy and workforce development compared to the other disciplines. Yet, it is important to the human condition. It is clear that on average, individuals that major in STEM subjects at university earn higher salaries than their arts counterparts, but arts degree holders are seeing a greater return on their investment. It's just not as immediate. They are also fulfilled more because they decided to pursue a field in which others probably warned about and discouraged, and doing so not to meet financial gains, but their own self-worth and chosen life path. The arts fosters human expression and fulfillment, and yet is economically viable, as the creation, organization, and distribution of art, music, film, etc. employs nearly 600,000 people and contributes $111 billion in Australia alone. And worldwide, the creative industries generate approximately $2.2 trillion and includes about 30 million jobs. Therefore, the arts must be taken more seriously, as it generates massive amounts of revenue and employs many people dedicated to their crafts. This sector must be recognized as it contributes to cultural diversity, social inclusion, environmental sustainability, and technological advancement. As we can see from the current global crisis, the economy is not the thing that will save us, and in the grand scheme of the universe, it doesn't mean much. The world has existed for a long time without an economy, and I don't think it mattered to the dinosaurs very much in the end. In our homes, we are turning to the arts to mentally save us, aided by technology to keep us occupied rather than being idle, and help manage our mental health and our altered lives. A majority of the things you will watch, read, hear, play, and create will be because of the arts. The arts allows us to express and share our emotions and ideas during this time or through any specific event. And through that, we can step into the mind of other people and see their experiences. We are turning towards science, technology, engineering, and mathematics during this crisis to keep us informed, to develop devices to help the healthy and the sick, and create cures and ultimately a vaccine. The disciplines within the STEAM model have a major influence of our current society and as a whole will save us. Thus, the importance of the arts is now highlighted in a world that is uncertain and shrouded in darkness. And hopefully, when that subsides, this significance is more acknowledged. Through this, I hope that STEAM, a term that brings supplementary fields together, is further adopted over the coming years in education, and the value of the arts is promoted. This curriculum model develops a humanistic vision for education and provides a more creative framework for teachers to teach their students. With issues that are becoming present on a global scale, people are becoming more politically aware and engaging more with civil and democratic activities. It is at this time where people are engaging more with the arts than with the economy, and in doing so are deeply concerned about their well-being and the well-being of others. The importance of the arts is very significant in our world, even though it might not seem so at first glance. But the arts examines the human condition and our surroundings, and also provides ways to express our humanity. Once this global crisis is over, I hope to see a revival and inundation of the arts.